In the unassuming town of Norwood Park, Chicago, there resided a man who would soon instill fear into the hearts of the nation: John Wayne Gacy. His affable demeanor and apparent successes made him an esteemed figure in the community. But behind this facade was a chilling secret. Gacy was a sadistic predator who preyed upon unsuspecting young men. The disappearances began subtly. A young man named Timothy vanished on a winter's night, leaving no trace or clues. His case soon went cold with no suspects, no leads. As if it were a twisted, recurring nightmare, more young men began to go missing. The town found itself held in the vice-like grip of a fear it had never known. Gacy was the friendly neighborhood businessman who offered jobs to young men in his construction firm, painting a picture of an individual who was always ready to lend a helping hand. The truth, however, was far from it. The same friendly man was the monster they sought, leading a double life of unimaginable horror. As the fear in the town escalated with every disappearance, Gacy was the beacon of hope and comfort. He consoled grieving families and even led search parties. His house on Somerdale Avenue, a place of horror unbeknownst to everyone, hid the grim reality. Beneath the floorboards was a makeshift graveyard where he discarded his victims, just like he concealed his horrifying alter ego beneath the congenial mask he wore. On a cold and bitter winter's evening in 1976, John Wayne Gacy set his sights on a new victim. His eyes narrowed on 16-year-old Samuel, a lad working late at his father's convenience store. The boy, naive and hard-working, was a soft target. Gacy, ever the charmer, approached Samuel, promising him a job that would pay triple his current earnings. He promised a better future, one Samuel had always dreamed of, and the boy was enticed. Gacy invited Samuel to his house under the pretext of discussing job details. The boy, oblivious of the doom that awaited him, eagerly accepted the offer. As he entered Gacy's seemingly normal house, he noticed the distinct stench of dampness, but thought nothing of it. Mesmerized by Gacy's charisma and apparent affluence, with a veneer of friendliness, Gacy offered Samuel a drink. In a seemingly playful mood, he then proposed showing the boy a magic trick involving handcuffs, a routine Gacy had practiced to perfection. Samuel was intrigued, his innocence shining through. As Gacy cunningly cuffed Samuel's hands behind his back, the room was filled with laughter, a chilling sound that would soon turn to screams of fear. Gacy then revealed his true monstrous form. His facade of friendliness disappeared, replaced by a predatory smirk. "The trick is, you have to have the key," he whispered, his eyes gleaming with an insidious joy. The revelation hit Samuel like a thunderbolt, the reality of his perilous situation sinking in. The walls of the house seemed to close in. The friendly neighborhood man turned into his worst nightmare. Struggling in vain, Samuel found himself unable to escape the iron grip of the cuffs. Gacy reveled in his fear, the power dynamic feeding his sadistic pleasure. The boy was at his mercy, the realization reflecting in his teary eyes. He begged for his life, his pleas falling on deaf ears. Gacy then subjected Samuel to unthinkable torment, physically and sexually assaulting him. The boy's muffled screams echoed through the house, music to Gacy's ears. He continued to taunt and torture his victim, drinking in the fear and pain etched on the boy's face. Hours turned into a nightmare for Samuel, as Gacy, in his monstrous glory, reveled in his control and power. The final act of Gacy's terrifying theater was the rope trick. He fashioned a tourniquet with a rope, looping it around the trembling boy's neck. "This is the last trick," he said in a tone colder than the winter outside. As Gacy tightened the tourniquet with a hammer handle, the room filled with Samuel's choked cries and pleas for mercy. His life was snuffed out slowly, every moment a testament to Gacy's sadistic pleasure. Once his vile act was complete, Gacy, with an eerie calmness, prepared to dispose of the lifeless body. He slipped it beneath the floorboards of his house, his private graveyard. He then covered it with a layer of quicklime to expedite decomposition. Like dusting off his hands after a hard day's work, he retreated to the normalcy of his life, preparing for his next victim. His deeds were monstrous, his enjoyment in them terrifying, cementing his place as one of the most chilling serial killers in history. It all came crashing down when Robert Peast, a teenager last seen with Gacy discussing a job prospect, vanished. The police were led to Gacy's doorstep. The putrid stench of decay was the first sign of the horror that awaited them. Amidst the personal items belonging to the missing men, the floorboards hid the most gruesome of all secrets: Gacy's victims. The news of Gacy's arrest was a bolt from the blue for the town. The jovial clown Pogo, who was a delight at children's parties, was revealed to be a cold-blooded killer, sending shivers down the spine of everyone who heard the news. The tale of the killer clown was born, one that was to haunt the town for years to come. Gacy's atrocities were not just physical but mental. He showed no remorse, no guilt for his abhorrent actions. His victims were mere playthings, objects to satiate his monstrous desires. His manipulative skills were chillingly apparent in the way he led his double life, making the ones who trusted him fear him the most. His trials were nothing short of a media spectacle, drawing national attention. Gacy maintained his innocence in the face of overwhelming evidence. His chilling portrayal of himself as a victim, blaming his victims instead, was a terrifying insight into his manipulative mind. Eventually, justice prevailed. Gacy was sentenced to death for his heinous crimes. However, the damage was done. The community was forever marred by the terror Gacy brought upon them. The trust, once unbroken, was shattered. Gacy's legacy, a chilling tale of horror and fear, outlived him. When you subscribe, be sure to hit the notification bell. Click here for more true scary stories.